Hey, welcome to Focus on Suppliers, brought to you by 8th and Walton. Did you know that the average American spends, get ready for this one, Mike, write this down, 11 hours a day interacting, reading, or watching some form of media, doing just what you're doing right now. Now, here's the fun part. Every piece of this media is powered by data, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're going to peel back with our guest today. Mike Ellgass from IRI is joining us again on the broadcast. Thank you for being here, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
Did you know that statistic?
I did not. Are you sure that's true?
I don't know if it's true. I'm depending on you.
It sounded really convincing.
So my question for you is, let's talk about the data behind the media. How has data traditionally been used to power media? And let's call it the old media system.
Yeah, I think about when I started my career. I mean, we made television commercials and dropped a couple of coupons. And to be honest with you, our targeting was age and gender, if you can imagine that. So that to me was kind of the old data way of doing things.
So now when you're looking at the new media, how do you compare that to the new media?
You know, we believe at IRI that most media is going to become both addressable and held accountable. And by that, I mean that you will have a pretty good understanding of the profile of the person you're delivering an ad to. And there'll be ways to connect that impression back to where somebody purchased. And so we think it will become very purchase-driven, how you evaluate whether your media is working. And that profile of who you're messaging to will become, much more robust, so that the message is just much more relevant than age and gender.
Well, the way that the industry and everything is changing so fast, who in your eyes is positioned to win when it comes to new media?
Oh, yeah. So I think the retailers are really well positioned because they're sitting on a gold mine of information. And you think about how much is done to try to understand true customer behavior. And the retailer has a basket of behavior every time you come into the store. And so they know very quickly what your preferences are. You think about when I make 2 trips to Walmart, what you could tell somebody about my family. You'd know that there's a presence of kids. You'd know that I buy dog food for my mother-in-law's dog that comes to the house. You'd know we like organics and diet bars. And, the profile you have is tremendous to then be able to understand what is going to be of interest to me and our household to purchase.
So if I'm a supplier and I'm stuck in that old media, what does it really take to go over and start working with a new media platform?
So it really comes down to great data, and we have an interesting advantage in that we are both a provider of data, but we're also a technology company. And so a lot of what we know about the tools we make available have been honed by advertisers that want the information. The advent of good traceable tender and loyalty cards has built to a database. We have about 350 million households in our multi-retailer database. And so you can do very precise things, not only knowing what people buy, but when they're going to purchase again. You think about longer purchase cycles like detergent. You know based on when somebody purchased last when they're coming back in. So our own work in that space has helped us now build out a technology platform that we bring to retail. And so now a retailer takes that same platform, can bring their own information into it, and run it the same way we've been running ours.
Well, I want to touch back on something that you mentioned at the top of the interview, and that is the way we used to profile our customers by age and gender, and that was it.
Yep.
How do you then cross over from going to simple profiling into what we need today, which is more personalization?
So, it really does come down to having a good system, because what liquid data allows you to do is bring that segment of customers into the way you think about categories. And so, we start to build things kind of behaviorally, where you can look in a basket and say, oh, this person likes to bake, or this person likes more convenient solutions, or based on when they shop, these folks will be coming in at the last minute, right? Because the holiday is upon us, versus these folks were buying at the beginning of the month. Just those simple segmentations of how people shop, what they shop for, is really the unlock of personalization, because not only does it tell you what to be talking about from a product perspective, but how to be talking about it in terms of the solutions they're looking for.
When you're describing it, it seems like such a given, but I'm just curious, with you and the team at IRI, when you're working with clients, what is the biggest barrier as far as trying to get them to think in terms of personalization?
It's really just delivering some proof, right, that it's working. One of the things that we've spent a lot of time working on is the connection back being able to take, starting with addressable media, looking at who is exposed to a campaign, and then looking at whether that changed their purchase behavior at all. And in theory, it's a fairly simple exercise of I look at the folks that were exposed, I look at what they were purchasing the year prior to the campaign, I look at changes. The modeling of getting the right control group is what is the magic of doing that, and it takes a really large data set. And if you're going to do it well, it takes bringing in things beyond purchase. You want to understand what were the pricing implications, where that person bought, what was going on from a macroeconomic standpoint in terms of everything from weather to gas prices, so that you're truly isolating the advertising. And so that approach is how we run our media business. And it's the same tools then that we bring to a retailer to allow them to connect their advertising back to their own purchases at a household level. And after you've run some experiments like that, and you compare what you're seeing with those lift models to what you're seeing in absolute sales, you can start to get really comfortable that it's working and that the effort is worth it.
All right, Mike, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for watching. Ready to take your next step in your journey with Walmart? Contact us at help@8thandwalton.com.